The hype behind Elden Ring continues to build as a release date draws near. What spoilers have already made their way online? Keep watching if you're hungry for every morsel of information about this long-awaited game. During the game's closed network test, players with jailbroken PS4s data mined Elden Ring and uncovered some closely guarded secrets. From Software clearly understood the risk of players digging too deeply into the test run, which is why the developers placed a giant bear in the game that would kill any players who managed to find a way outside of the test boundaries. Not too surprising considering the developers' enduring sadistic tendencies. But really though, after all the things Dark Souls players have been through over the years, is a ferocious bear all that intimidating?
Hey Ron! I'm running a furry tractor!
Unfortunately for From Software, the developers couldn't predict this new PS4 exploit. The Verge released a report about the PS4 jailbreak on December 14, 2021, and spoilers for Elden Ring began making rounds just a few days later. Of course, until the game actually releases, From Software could certainly make as many changes as it wants to the leaked material. The Elden Ring story trailer introduces the basics of the game's backstory. It opens by revealing that the fall of the world's demigods began with Godwyn the Golden's death. Newly leaked information from the game, however, seems to reveal that Godwyn is very much alive. The leaks show that Godwyn will actually be the game's primary blacksmith, and players will rely on his abilities to upgrade their weapons, similar to the process in Dark Souls. Considering that the game's trailer claimed that Godwyn had died after the Rune of Death was stolen, how does he factor into the rest of the game's story? Another audio file features Godwyn quietly rambling about a grail and his ability to smith weapons. The speech is in line with characters from previous Souls games who lost their minds after taking part in horrifying events.
For a very long time, I was trapped within the crystal golem. From my home I was taken and banished to a plane of distortion.
Perhaps tragedy left Godwyn's mind damaged, even as his body lives on to assist future travelers. And maybe that's why the trailer shows Godwyn's corpse opening its eyes as black liquid oozes from beneath its eyelids. One of the biggest changes that Elden Ring will introduce to the Souls subgenre is an open world that puts a heavy emphasis on exploration. Since the first Dark Souls game, From Software has been crafting worlds that seamlessly interlink different areas. But Elden Ring will offer an open world in the more traditional sense. In November 2021, Bandai Namco finally released a gameplay preview of Elden Ring that gave players a taste of the variety of locations they would encounter throughout the game. The recent data mining leaks have revealed even more details about what's in store for adventurers come February 2022.
We happy? Yeah, we happy.
One file that's been leaked makes reference to the other Eternal City. The speakers say that the city hides a cradle chalice, and though the importance of the chalice has yet to be revealed, From Software fans will likely remember the importance of chalices in Bloodborne. In that game, chalices were used to generate dungeons that could be explored for unique loot and bosses. Some other Elden Ring dialogue has been leaked in a text file, and an unknown speaker makes reference to a secret path that leads through a well to the meeting place of the Great Caravan, somewhere under the capital. Secret paths and underground cities are nothing new to veterans of From Software's previous games, but we'll have to wait until February or the next round of leaks to piece together how the Great Caravan fits into the game's story. From Software's games tend to have stories that are rich with details but difficult to understand. They're often told through item descriptions and opaque bits of dialogue threaded throughout the game, which turns piecing things together into a challenging mini-game of its own. That makes this particular leak especially exciting for anyone who wants a deeper understanding of Elden Ring's main story.
I offer you an accord.
Data mined files from the game's closed network test contain an entire quest worth of dialogue. The dialogue comes from Millicent, a young girl suffering from scarlet rot, and Galri, the sage who raised her. Millicent is the daughter of Melania, who rules parts of the lands between with her 5 sisters. Melania once fought the giant lord Radahn, and one day she will replace her mother Marika as queen. Galri asks that players kill Millicent when Melania ascends to the throne. Only then will Millicent, quote, begin to flower and become a Scarlet Valkyrie. The branching dialogue seems to reveal that players have the option to either do as Galri asks or to help Millicent escape her fate. There's no indication of how central this particular questline is to the main story, but fans already know from the game's official description that Queen Marika the Eternal and her daughters are a main focus. If the leaks are to be believed, many fan-favorite methods of mowing down enemies from the Souls games will be returning to Elden Ring. Data mining has revealed many of the various weapon classes that the Tarnished will have at their disposal as they wander about the lands between slaying monsters. Many classes, from the Greatsword to the Warhammer, are Souls series regulars. Others, like the bow and crossbow, have seen their mechanical ups and downs over the years. There are also some exciting new additions, including the Glintstone staff.
Oh, that is so gnarly.
Another returning combat enhancement is the ability to infuse weapons with various magical properties or elements. Players can make their blades ignite into flames, poison enemies, or deal extreme physical damage. For anyone building a character with a darker aim on dealing death, blood, and occult infusions will likely work perfectly, though gamers don't yet have a clear understanding of how they augment damage. There were no major surprises in the weapons and infusions leak, but there are more than enough new touches to get fans' imaginations running wild. The bosses of Elden Ring will likely provide some of the game's most memorable moments.
Someone must extinguish thy flame. Let it be Margit the Fell.
There'll be no shortage of monstrous death dealers for players to tackle during their exploration of the lands between. But another spoiler claims to reveal the identities of the 6 main bosses who will need to be dispatched to obtain the Great Runes. Players will take on the Golden Lord Godric, the Moon Lord Renala, the Blood Lord Mohg, the Grace Lord Morgoth, the Chaos Lord Horalu, and the Giant Lord Radahn. The last of these intimidating warriors can be seen in the game's story trailer. The Elden Ring leaks uncovered a few other small insights into 2 of the bosses. There are 3 NPCs listed as Lord Renala's children, meaning that Renala's boss battle could be one to look out for. It wouldn't be the first time From Software put players toe-to-toe with multiple bosses in a single fight. Radahn's strength level is supported by another audio file where a female NPC describes his battle and victory with a constellation of stars. Either she's speaking metaphorically, or Radahn is even bigger than he appeared in the trailer. A massive text file containing huge chunks of the game's dialogue was uncovered during the data mining process. There are pages of text to pore over, but none of them label which characters are speaking which lines. Even without that key information, however, keen readers have been able to pull out some inferred story beats from the file's disjointed lines, and luckily for anyone truly committed to uncovering as much information as possible, another leak can work as a helpful guide. A list of every NPC in the game has been revealed, and it can tell players quite a lot about what to expect throughout their time in the lands between. Queen Marika, the various lords, and Millicent all stand out because their names come up more often than others in the dialogue that's been revealed so far. Characters with names like the Raitor and Talking Corpses are little more than interesting mysteries at this point, but others might be familiar to Souls fans. Get ready to say hello to Patches once again.
Oh, the demons haven't got to you, have they? I'm in luck.
The extensive NPC list is also a reminder of the game's scale. There are over 6 NPCs named, and it's hard to say for sure that everyone has been included. Sometimes a soundtrack can tell a story of its own. Music can make or break a game's tone, and the music of Elden Ring has high standards to live up to. Half a dozen soundtrack files have been leaked, and they give an instant sense of how the game will feel. In one track, epic choral swells create a grandiose but unrelentingly eerie atmosphere. Another track that sounds like it came straight out of a bloody fight scene uses a combination of chorus vocals and rhythmic strings to build the tension. Composer Yuka Kitamura's talents are on full display in all of the music that has been leaked so far. It's no surprise that Kitamura also worked on the soundtrack for Bloodborne, and clearly the horror elements that inspired the previous game's sound have been brought into Elden Ring. Until Bandai Namco releases more in-game footage or a playable demo that's open to the public, listening to these tracks is the closest fans can get to experiencing the game firsthand. You don't really need leaks to tell you how Elden Ring ends. After exploring every inch of the lands between and slaying countless monsters and foes, it will all come down to one last epic boss battle. Dark Souls had Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, while Bloodborne had Gehrman. Every Souls game has its own memorable final boss, and there's no reason to expect that Elden Ring would suddenly abandon this integral piece of the tried-and-true formula.
Well, I'm convinced.
For all the information pulled from the game's closed network test, data miners apparently came up empty on the question of the game's true big bad. Instead of giving a definitive answer, fans have surmised that there are several different possibilities, ranging from Queen Marika the Eternal to Melania's many daughters. Queen Marika might be the obvious choice for a final boss. since their offspring rule the various regions of the lands between. But From Software isn't exactly known for making obvious decisions with their stories. For now, the final battle in Elden Ring remains a mystery, but the leaks have definitely given fans a few credible hints. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.